My Hero Academia Chapter 398 is finally out, and with it, All Might's about to f***ing die! All Might's origins are revealed, and it really looks like this third and final fight with All For One is coming to its tragic end. But before we begin, don't forget to Detroit smash that subscribe button to keep up to date with all the Lunchtime Crew / My Hero content. And so, without further ado, let's jump right into My Hero Academia Chapter 398, titled Toshinori Yagi Rising Origin. This chapter opens up with a brief flashback to All Might's first meeting with Nana Shimura, where we see that continuing on from their first interaction in which All Might was saved from a group of villains by the hero, All Might immediately asked Nana if he could become her disciple. So, interestingly, unlike him and Midoriya, Toshinori was the instigator of the master-disciple relationship he had with Nana. Although this flashback is abruptly ended as the story cuts back to the present, where in the midst of All For One and All Might's gruesome battle, we see another support item shoot out of Hercules and into All Might's hand, who jams it directly into All For One's chest. This support item in question turns out to be named after Mina Ashido, Pinky. And as you'd expect with a weapon named after the alien queen herself, as soon as it pierces the villain's skin, it injects a vial of powerful acid directly into his body, devastating the villain from the inside. All Might, in watching All For One burst, burn, and melt from the inside out, continues taunting the villain, calling out to All For One saying, "You said I was organic garbage, but look who's rotting now." Alright All Might, I'll give it to you, the taunts are getting better. However, following this attack, the story flashes back once again, picking up and continuing with All Might and Nana's first encounter, where we see that after All Might asked to be Nana's disciple, she initially refused the young Toshinori, claiming that she couldn't do it because not only is he quirkless, but the fact of the matter is, if she did take him under her wing, he would only be able to help those who happen to be within 3 meters of him. Despite this reasoning, All Might persists, following Nana calling out to her that his family were killed by villains, just like hers, to which Nana replies that she doesn't have the time to help him on his quest for revenge. Wow, so All Might doesn't have any family members because they were killed before the story even started. Although Toshinori corrects Nana, stating that he's not looking for revenge. He just can't stand the spiral of crime, hatred, and sadness. He wants to do more than just help people, he wants to be a symbol of peace. In hearing these words, Nana stops in her tracks, astonished by this response, and she turns to face Toshinori for the first time since they started this conversation. Toshinori goes on to say that it doesn't matter if you build a new house after everything has been destroyed. The people who live in them will still live in fear. And it's super interesting to note that as Toshinori says this, our perspective on the two's conversation changes literally. Previously, we had this shot of the two on a seemingly normal walkway with regular cozy buildings in the background. But as Nana turns to face Toshinori and he begins to talk about how the world needs a symbol, our perspective inverts, and as it does, we see the devastation, destruction, and the horrific remains of what was once a city besides the two heroes. And the fact that the two are having a casual conversation beside this destruction not only emphasizes how normalized it is in this world, but spikes, presumably from a quirk, are still shooting out from the ground, implying that this destruction is either recent or no one has been able to clean it up. It's an awesome shot to say the least. But anyways, after Toshinori says all of this, Nana asks him why he wants to take on this seemingly insurmountable goal of becoming a symbol of peace when he is fully aware that he is quirkless, when he knows that he is powerless. To which All Might simply replies that everyone else is already out there protecting their own 3-meter area. So he's the only one that can do it. Going on to say, I have no quirk. That means I don't have a role of my own. And following this, the story cuts right back to the present, where in an oddly nostalgic moment, we see All Might and All For One crashing through Tatooine Station, the same very station that Midoriya arrived at to see the heroes fight at the very start of the series. And to make it all the more emotional, the new double spread panel is an almost exact 1-to-1 perspective of that moment. Oh, how far we have come. As All For One and All Might continue their battle through the city, Detective Tsukauchi notes that the duo still seem to be approaching UA, but it's no longer a direct route thanks to All For One's fury and determination in hunting down All Might. So All Might's tactic to delay All For One is working. All Might then gets blasted onto a rooftop, and we can now see that our beloved hero isn't holding up as well as we had hoped. His suit is not only extremely damaged, but All Might himself is more broken than we have ever seen him, with broken ribs, damage all over his body, and as Hercules informs us, his respiratory organs have started malfunctioning. Ironically, as we see All Might in this terrifying state, he realizes that the rooftop he landed on is the very same one he first showed Midoriya the wound All For One gave him in their first fight, and the place where Midoriya first asked him if a quirkless kid could become a hero.
Oh god, the death flags are real.
All Might, completely exhausted and on the verge of defeat, in this place of all places, remembers the young Midoriya running in to save Bakugo against the sludge villain, as well as Stain's words to him about his role in this world. And so, with these memories, he pushes himself once more, standing to his feet, ready to go one more round. And as he does so, All For One arrives at the building looking even younger than before, something All Might notices. All Might then realizes that All For One had to use several quirks to remove the acid from his body, causing massive damage to himself. So he assumes that the more damage All For One takes, the faster he regresses. With this realization, the broken and battered All Might just starts to laugh. And as his laugh gets louder and louder, eventually erupting into a mountainous, crazy laugh, his mind is flooded with all of his memories with Midoriya. All Might, still laughing, then tells Hercules to send all of the remaining support items to him at once. And as his body gets covered in new support equipment, such as power gauntlets, tentacle arms like Dr. Octopus, and even a mechanical bird, he looks at All For One more time. Except this time, his eye isn't dark in shadows, it's bright with life, just like it was in his youth. He then calls out to All For One, "I'm so happy I can play a role and help everyone. I'll do my best, we'll do our best, and win." Ladies and gentlemen, the fight between All For One and All Might is over. Now, it's All For One versus the quirkless man known as Toshinori Yagi. Toshinori, primed and ready to go, calls out to activate his mobility support items, Ingenium and Uravity. And as he does so, All Might's vestige inside of One For All suddenly awakens and begins to sense the presence of his real body. With this, the story briefly cuts back on over to Midoriya and Shigaraki, where Midoriya, still entangled with the villain, calls out to All Might in his head. And as if it's a mirror image from one generation to the next, Toshinori, about to face off against All For One for the last time, still laughing away, calls out in his mind, young Midoriya.
All Might's gonna f***ing die.
And that's it for chapter 398. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like. For more content like this, subscribe to the Lunchtime Crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. It's lunchtime.